what would you recommend as people start getting more properties, more doors, that they do to change from thinking like property by property to more systematically?
So one thing that I would really recommend, if they don't have it, is to have property manager or the person who is really taking care of that property. When you start scaling, you start really losing the sight of some small details that can be really beneficial either for a tenant or for you. So that would be the great thing, and that's what all institutional investors do. They always work with external parties who are taking care of their properties so that you can be focused on the next property or on some, I don't know, documentation, taxes, repairs, maintenance, but that you have that one person who is in charge. And now, depending how your portfolio is allocated, the best is to have, right, one for multiple properties. But if they're really in different parts, then you need to have the multiple people. But I need to say that even though it's, let's say, expense for you that you're going to deduct from your rental income, it's really worth it. And I think it really helps when you start scaling your portfolio. And you can see benefits. They might be sometimes if you're entering, let's say, a new city that you don't know, and if you find the right property manager, operator, he can really help you about the better analysis. They have more knowledge. They know better maybe how to rent it out. So it can be really, really, really beneficial to have external parties supporting you with property.
Right. I love that because I know I talk to people so much about that. So many people get into real estate and they pat themselves on the back because they have moved from like being employed by someone else to being self-employed. And that is worth like a congratulations. And, if we think of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, to move
Yes.
from being self-employed to
Yep.
business owner, you've got to have employees, you've got to have people working for you. And that's where bringing on virtual assistants was such a game changer for me, and having like a virtual assistant who really does all the day-to-day management for my investment properties has allowed me to move high level. So I love how you're sharing that, Dr. Danny, because I know it was huge, huge for me personally.
Yeah, for example, like you mentioned, like with the virtual assistants, they can help you so much. They can control things. They can really do all that mundane tasks that are taking your energy and time. And
Hmm.
if you have a person that is really in the location of your properties, they can help you as well really a lot by really taking care of the property.
Right. Especially, like on my short-term rentals and properties that
Yes.
require more work, that boots on the ground team is a key part. So if you're listening to this and you are still, like I was when I got started, doing the painting on turnovers, right? Or heaven forbid, you're cleaning your short-term rental yourself, guys. This is your wake-up call to get someone else doing that so you can do the high-level stuff on your investing. I will also throw out for our agents and brokers, if you're doing your own closing gifts, if you're going and shopping and assembling those yourself, if you're doing those low-level tasks yourself, same thing. We need to get you out of those weeds so you can start being high-level and growing your business like Dr. Danny's sharing about here.
And there is a calculation method that, for example, you take into account how much money you earn per month, and then you calculate down towards how much you earn per hour. And
Mm-hmm.
then every service that costs you less than what your hour costs, you should find an external party to do it. Like for us can be, I don't know, cleaning in the house, having virtual assistant, having some support. Like really, when you reach that point to see it's not worth of my time, because I
Right.
can make more money if I use this 1 hour, let's say, to evaluate the next property, than if I go to paint the walls. Then you can also do it mathematically and don't feel guilty about doing delegation.
Right. And that's a good point, Dr. Danny, because a lot of people, and so like listeners, if reasons coming up in your head that you're like, oh, I have to do this myself, those are often like psychological limiting beliefs or other issues, like you're not worthy of having a cleaner or you're not worthy of paying someone else to do this for you. There's some underlying beliefs and limitations going on there. So take a step back and maybe think about what that could be. Let's talk about capital allocation. So, as investors, again, grow and scale, what are your pro tips on capital allocation? Because so often investors end up just staying busy and not building wealth.
So when it comes to capital allocation, it's a part that we do in strategy, right? At the beginning. So it's not something that pops up after a few months. It was literally, okay, today, let's say you have available, I'll give some simple examples. I know you have available 10,000 euro and you can get a loan 100,000 euro, right? Okay, what we can do with this 110? How many properties can we buy? And in the next, let's say, 1 to 3 years. So it's something that my advice would be to be done in advance. Of course, you can always change it, but the more you can plan, it's easier, because I cannot help with your capital allocation when you don't really know what you want to achieve and how, or how many properties we can buy with that money. So it's important to see before starting, or if you already start, which is fine, to really take just one step back. See how much equity I have, how much loan is there, what I can do next. And is it the right move? Maybe next property, should I maybe sell one? Like, to really have a plan and strategy. I know it's a word I'm constantly repeating, but it really is, because otherwise, I always say, if you don't have a goal or plan, how are you going to reach something? Because you don't know where you're going, right? How are you going to reach something? Like, I give example. It's like when you go to Google Maps and you don't type the address. Where are you going to go?
Right.
So for me, that's really important part that I put a lot of emphasis.